Hey, my friends. Welcome back to an episode of Notes from the Edge. I'm your host, Lisa Lacy. This is the place where we talk about the things we should have been talking about all along, the place where we have the conversations that we should be having, but we are not. And today, our guest is Daniel Eiferman. And today, we're going to be talking about what happens after a bad outcome. So, surgeons and clinicians are trained extensively to perform under pressure, make life or death decisions, and remain steady when everything is falling apart. But what happens when things don't happen the way you want? Our guest today is a trauma and acute care surgeon, educator, author, and healthcare leader who has spent his entire career at the intersection of high stakes medicine and human resilience. He is a tenured professor of surgery at The Ohio State University and has been recognized as a Castle Connolly Top Doctor since 2018. Known for his candid, we love that in here, teaching style, he helps clinicians build resilience, lead teams, and navigate the emotional realities of medicine that are rarely discussed in the open. Well, Daniel, you're in the right place. His book, Cut Open, A Surgeon's Story of Loss, Resilience, and Growth, pulls back the curtain on the human side of surgical practice. Through real operating room experiences, he explores communication, difficult decisions, leadership, loss, and what it takes to rebuild confidence after an outcome shakes the foundation of who you think you are. This is not just for surgeons or doctors. It's for anyone who has worked in high stakes environments. We'll just say life, because life is high
I think
stakes.
that's fair. I think that's
and
fair.
uh and it didn't turn out how you wanted. So, Danny, welcome to
Yeah.
the show. How are you today, my
I
friend?
I am wonderful. Again, thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being on. Thanks for being on. It's going to be a fun conversation. I'm excited. I'm excited about your book. Congratulations on that.
Thank you. Labor
Um,
of love.
yeah, it has to be. Has to be. I've got my memoir launches for pre-sale in October. So we're in the second round of edits right now. And yeah,
Congrat
we're stoked about
Congratulations.
that.
May you lose less money than I have.
Hey, I just want to make what I put into it. Isn't
Oh
that the
God,
deal? Like,
may
there's no
you,
money in writing, guys. There's no
hey,
money in writing.
may,
There isn't.
let me tell you,
Yeah.
if I
We,
broke even, I'd be doing a dance. So
yep.
I hope your
Yep.
goal is realistic of at least breaking even.
Yeah, creative arts there's no money in it. But anyway, we can come on and do a second podcast about that.
Yeah, yeah, certainly.
So Daniel, surgeons are extensively trained in technical skill, decision making, and how to respond during crisis. But why are so few clinicians taught how to recover emotionally after a complication or devastating outcome, which is going to happen?
Yeah, it's a great question why it's not in the formal curriculum. But as you probably know from doing this podcast, like it's awkward. It's difficult to talk about.
Yeah.
And one of the things that I think we do poorly as human beings, but even more poorly as surgeons, is showing our vulnerability.
Hmm.
That we think that not showing our own coming off with the facade of invulnerability is what the patients wants. It's what your compadres in the hospital want. And I don't think we do a good job of teaching people that actually showing your vulnerability is probably the number one thing that builds trust. Uh, and, and
Oh,
that lesson doesn't get taught.
oh,
You like that one or you didn't like
I
that one?
like that one.
No,
That's some good stuff right there. It builds trust.
probably
Yeah.
the number one thing. So what I try to tell people is, in what I do, that uh, if somebody comes in and has not done a procedure before with me, say a scrub tech, circulating nurse, trainee, and they're nervous, they don't want to screw up. In the minute that I drop my guard and I say something like, listen, you can't screw this up worse than I already have before in the past. Okay. Now I'm a human being.
Yeah.
I don't expect perfection out of you. I did not come out of the womb and know how to do this procedure. And I will tell you that the overwhelming majority of people, I truly believe this, if you drop your guard with them first, they will reciprocate and drop theirs. Now we have a connection, and that
Yeah.
connection will allow us to have trust and work together.
I love that. And you know what? As soon as you say that and show yourself in that raw authenticity, it helps their body even relax. I'm sure you just see them go, "Oh, okay. All
Uh,
right. Now we can do this."
That is correct. I do not expect perfection. I do not expect machine. We're humans, and it
Yeah,
also, like also have the competence or the confidence that whatever mistakes that we make, you and I together, we can overcome them
I
and
love
work.
that. I love that.
So that is the problem is in the stereotype, especially of surgeons, but I think it's true in other things, is you think you want the doctor that says, I've done thousands of these, I'm the best, nobody better than me. And
Mm,
in the short term, that is what you want to hear
mm,
until something goes wrong.
mm.
And when something goes wrong, you want somebody that you can trust.
Yeah,
And that is why complications are so difficult for surgeons, because we violated that trust. But if we started where we fracture that trust up front, I told you everything was going to be okay, things aren't okay. Now we're in a trust deficit with each other.
yeah.
But if I come and say, hey, this is really difficult, and I can't promise you the outcome that you're hoping for, but I can promise you I'll be by your side the whole way.
And I'll do my best.
Correct. I will put every ounce of training that I have into this, and right, wrong, good or bad, this goes north, this goes south, I'll be there for you.
We're in it together. I love
Correct.
that. I love that. I love that.
Unfortunately, that's not
So
how we were actually trained, but I think that's where we need to go.
that needs to be a whole you need to be like in med schools teaching that class, my friend.
Well, hopefully this podcast is going out to all the people, and and here we go. We're starting the revolution.
Let's start. Hey, I'm down for a revolution.
There, there you go.
I just need my sword. I need my sword. Long story there, but anyway, we don't keep swords in the house. My husband and I wrestle with each other. We would end up hurting each other. So,
Okay, yeah,
all right,
good. As a
noted.
as a trauma surgeon and acute care, good call on that one. No wrestling with swords. If there's nothing
Well,
else that
listen,
anybody takes out of this podcast, no wrestling with
no
swords.
wrestling with swords.
Yeah.
Yes. There. Yeah, no wrestling with swords. I'm a martial artist and he's
Okay.
not, and he thinks he is. And there's been a couple of times where I've had him in chokes, but I couldn't see his face and he didn't tap out. So he knocked out. So anyway, story for another day. All
Yeah.
right, complication versus personal failure. Ah, big
Mm,
difference. Big difference. In medicine, an unwanted outcome can happen, right?
true.
Even when everybody did everything right, skillfully, appropriately. Why is it still so difficult for surgeons to say that was a complication, not my personal failure?
It's a great question, and I'm going to answer or respond with that with a great analogy that was given to me when I was coping with the worst complication that I ever had,
Mm,
that I write about to start my book. It was an accounting professor, believe it or not, when I was doing my graduate work. He said, Danny, so I told him the story of this awful complication I had. And he said, okay, I got a question for you. He said, right here, there's a bucket. And inside the bucket, I'm going to put 9 red ribbons and I'm going to put 1 green ribbon in. Then you're going to put your hand in, you're going to pull out 1 ribbon. What color would you expect to pull out? Obviously, being the astute mathematician that I am, 90% red to red. He said, great, good answer. If you pulled out the green one, was your thought process wrong or did you just have a bad result?
mm,
And that really helped me a lot because there are times where I have done everything which I feel was medically and surgically correct and I didn't get the outcome that I wanted. If I had a good process, I could go and look myself in the mirror and say, Danny, you did good. This happens. However, if I had a bad process, then I need even bad process. I've done bad surgery and people have had good results. That can
mm,
happen as well. That's unacceptable. And that is personal. That is, I if you were my patient, I violated the trust compact that we had, the covenant that we had between each other. And that is personal. And I actually think it's okay. I should hurt from that. That makes me human. That makes me
Yeah.
care. And it makes me want to get better. And when people come to me, when they've had a bad outcome and they're struggling, I actually tell them the fact that this hurts is a good thing.
Mm,
This is you becoming a better doctor, a better surgeon, whatever it is that they're going through.
I love
So
that.
part one is process versus sometimes complications happen. Sometimes I can do everything right and the patient can still get a deep venous thrombosis or things like that. Okay, hold your head high, go on to fight the next one. Bad process, I need to dig deep and figure out why the process was bad and what I can do to get better so that I can go and help the next person.
Yeah. So either way, you're getting better. You're improving as a
I,
human in terms of your own personal growth or improving your processes. Yeah.
I would like to think so. The hold your head high when you had a good process to me is one of the things that I feel like we need to teach everybody. This is certainly in medicine, and that is learn to talk to yourself nicely. Uh,
Please
uh,
preach.
and
Yes.
the
It's
negative
called self abuse.
right,
Yeah.
the negative thoughts that go into your brain when something bad happens, I call it
And please
spiraling.
tell us that physicians have it too.
Oh, of
Yes.
course they do. Uh,
Yes.
and I call it thought spiraling. So
Hmm.
I give the example of I had this awful complication that really set me back from a mental health standpoint. And this was my negative thought process. So I had this bad complication. So I'm a bad surgeon. Because I'm a bad surgeon, that just means I'm a bad doctor. Because I'm a bad doctor, I'm probably a bad husband. Because I'm probably a bad dad. Also, I'm probably not that great of a friend. And that's the negative thought spiral that we can get into. And you
Yep.
have to learn how to break that
Yep.
and talk nicely to yourself. And so, again, when people come to me, I always say, can you control your thoughts?
Yeah.
And if you can't, we need to get to a place where you can say, bad thing X happened. You could feel bad about it. There's nothing I'm saying. That does not define who you are, and we're going to get you through this.
I love that. I love that. And my friend, sometimes it starts with one thought at a time. When I started thought reframing is what I
Hmm.
call it when
Oh,
I work with
nice.
people. Um, I would catch myself fucking standing in the kitchen staring at a wall calling myself stupid. You're so stupid. You're such an F up. You're always going to
Mm,
mess up. You're never going to find healthy relationships. And it literally took observing. Observation is not neutral, guys. That's quantum physics, quantum mechanics. The minute you observe it, it's already starting to change. So it's brilliant. Acknowledgement is 75% of the work. But I had to replace that I'm so stupid with the statement of fact, which is I am a highly intelligent woman. That's the statement of fact. And now those thoughts never cross my mind anymore, but it takes daily practice. And sometimes it's one thought at a time.
it is a major challenge to be able to say, instead of I'm stupid, I'm a terrible doctor, I should quit and go do something else, to this did not go the way that I wanted it to. Okay, let's accept that as a fact. However, I've put in all the time and training and the skills. I have the skills to learn from those and go help the next person and make their life better.
I love that.
And that's hard to do
That is hard to
when
do.
especially when you're caught in the negative thought spiral. So that's
Yeah, I
the
also tell people to talk to them if you're a good friend, like talk to yourself like you do like I'm so great to my girlfriends, right? Like and so I started just talking to myself like I do my own girlfriends and it revolutionized everything.
that is
So,
a great one because I was like, if I called you and told you, this awful story, what would you say to me? You'd say,
mhm.
Danny, you've helped a lot of people and put in the time. It's okay. And why can't you say that to yourself? Oh, it's
Yes.
different. No, it's not. No, it's pause, time out. No, it's
I'm just
not.
like this.
Mm,
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
just like this. That's when
yeah,
you know you've got a tough client.
yeah.
All right, the private psychological toll. What is the psychological and emotional toll of a surgical complication? And why do so many physicians struggle in private instead of seeking the support that could really help them.
Yeah. Uh, Unfortunately, our culture, a little in surgery, is not as much of the you've had this complication. Let me tell you about my complication.
You
It's a
guys
little
aren't sitting around sharing complications.
no, well, we have M&M, or for your non-medical people, morbidity, mortality conferences where they get
Mm,
presented, and you some people could say some unkind things about what you should have done, or why, which sometimes have the undertone, if you were a better doctor or you're a better surgeon,
judgment.
this outcome would have happened. Judgment is the correct word in there. There's that fear. I hate to sound like a broken record, of dropping your guard again and admit
The
this is
armor.
correct.
Yeah.
Because what I said to you earlier was, if you drop your guard first, the overwhelming majority of people will drop their guard with you.
Yes.
However, there is a small fraction of people that, when you drop your guard, will use that information against you.
They will weaponize it. Yes.
And those people have a name. Okay. They're called assholes. Okay. Uh,
Yep, and they exist.
and
They're there.
we're not living in Garden of Eden, Pollyanna. Those people exist,
Yeah.
and they can pour salt on a wound for
Yeah.
you. And so you finally got the bravery to drop your guard, and then you got burned with it.
Mm,
And I think anybody who's ever been in a relationship that ended poorly would understand that feeling. And then you have hesitation the next time. I don't want to get hurt again.
yeah.
It's the same idea, uh, in my mind, and that's why I talk about, you have to have an inner circle. There are uh, heavy evidence, like, this isn't just my opinion, that people who do what you do are the ones that are most likely to be able to help you. And
Mm,
so the example that I give, my wife, best friend, mom of kids, married almost 26 years now.
congratulations.
Thank you. I just do whatever she says, and the relationship works
Yeah,
out well.
I
Uh,
just said it on a podcast earlier today. I'm always right. My husband tells me
yeah,
I'm always right.
right.
Yep, he knows.
The
He
other
knows.
one is, what's hers is hers, and what's mine is ours. I think it's another one that Liz says. But
I'm borrowing that one.
yeah, you like that one? Uh, she is not in healthcare. She's not a doctor. And when I had this horrible complication, she knew I was sad, but
Hmm.
didn't understand what I meant when I misidentified the anatomy, what this meant, what
Mm.
that meant.
Technically, skillfully,
Right.
like yeah,
But
yeah.
when I talked to my healing began when I talked to my former chairman, who did what
Uh,
I did, and that's when I began to heal. Somebody who did what I do. So you have to have an inner circle. Who are those people in your life you can drop your guard with? Who
yes.
who will care about you so much that they'll hurt your feelings if they need to? Like, yeah, Danny, you didn't handle that one very well, or
Call
you
you
do
out
need
on your BS.
yeah,
Yep.
call you out. That's a much better way to say it.
Yeah.
Um, and I think it's really difficult to be successful in my field, but I would say in any field, if you don't have that, who's your inner circle? Who's
Yeah.
got your back? Who's got your
Yeah.
support? Uh, and that that when they are giving you feedback or anything, the sole purpose of that is to help you.
They
That's
have
the
your
only
best interest in
interest
mind
in mind.
always.
Correct.
Yes.
Not to put you down, not to
Yes.
leapfrog over you, anything like that. I think, and I always talk, I mean, my kids, one kid's in college, the other ones are going off. I talk to them about, grow your community. Who's your community? All
Yeah.
right now, and my younger daughter, she has this beautiful community of friends, and I said, I don't care how you do out on the track. What you created here, that's what matters. You don't believe me now because you think winning and losing is a, trust me on this one, and I'm extremely proud of you for that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that
Yeah.
that's any different as we get to be adults.
Yeah. And just friends, just to be mindful too, if we get 3, 4, 5 of those people that are our chosen family in our inner circle, count yourself very lucky,
Yeah.
and make sure they're tried and tested. And what I mean by that is when you finally do get vulnerable and open up, make sure they've already proven that they're going to show up in a non-judgmental way and just be with you in it and not try to fix it. And yes, have friends that will call you out on your BS. Yes, Lisa, you were the asshole in that situation. Oh, okay. Well, my friends, we have a thing. They're like, do you want to be right today or do you want the truth? Sometimes I'm like, I just want to be right. They're like, okay. And I'll call them the next day and they're like, so I was like, I know I was the asshole. It's fine.
Yeah. Here's my hey, Lisa, could you do me a favor? Could you lie to me? I'm going to tell you a story. If you agree with me, please tell me. If you don't, could you just lie to me today? You
We
know,
have that.
yeah,
Sometimes you just need them to lie to you.
yeah.
So, all right, the culture of perfection. I love this topic because it's not just in medicine. I think it's just across the board right now, especially with social media and what we see versus what reality really is. But medicine often rewards certainty and composure, and composure can be camouflage for a lot of things and the appearance of invulnerability. How does that culture turn around and then contribute to shame, isolation, and fear?
Yeah, the answer to that, I would tell you, goes back to what I was talking about earlier, and that is, uh, to me, it's all about trust. And if I go in there with the invulnerability and then fracture our trust, now one of my least favorite emotions that exists in the human, embarrassed. Now,
Oof.
now I'm embarrassed. You trusted me to take care of your loved one, to operate on you, and I did not deliver on the trust that you put into me. Now I'm embarrassed. And that's a difficult emotion to deal with. It
Mm,
takes a lot of self-talk to get yourself through, and you also need to learn the skills of how you rebuild trust after you have had a fracture um, in there. But
with
that's
yourself too. I mean, with
there.
yourself first, so that you can rebuild and repair with others.
Well, that's like you could take in surgery. You know, I'm gonna have to do this procedure again. Most likely, am I gonna, have PTSD every time I do the same procedure, or am I gonna have PTG, post traumatic growth, and say this is not going to define me? And how can
PTG, I love it. Yes,
PTG? Yeah, most people know
PTG.
PTSD, and a lot of people don't know PTG. But the amount of people that go on to PTG is actually very small.
Mm,
Most people will get back to their baseline level of function after something bad. Uh, we need to get more people to, so we call that resilience. When you get back to where you were, we need growth after that to be better than we were before that bad thing happened to us.
I love that. And definitely not sit in shame. It's the lowest vibration we can carry. And you're right, embarrassment and humiliation sits around that shame vibration. Yeah.
That is, I call them the other one, regret. Like they're worthless
Oh,
emotions.
yeah.
Like there's no value uh, in
Yeah.
those.
So I have a congenital blood disease. I have an antithrombin 3.
Oh, sure.
So I face my mortality every day. I've had 10 events of pulmonary embolisms.
I was going to say you clot
Um,
all the time, don't
I
you?
all the time. I
Yeah.
go into doctors and they're like, "What years have you had these massive embolisms in both lungs?" And they look at me like I'm a fucking medical anomaly. But I will say this, because I face my mortality on a daily. I mean, I could drop of a stroke, a heart attack, or another embolism at any point in time because I've clotted on thinners too.
Oh,
Um, so here's the thing, my friends. At the end of the day, guess what you're going to be worried about? It ain't going to be that boat or that house or that car or that number in your bank account. You're going to be worried about a couple of things. And I'm a death doula too, a certified death doula. I sit with people who don't have friends or family as they're transitioning, because my father left that way.
oh,
But your memories and your regrets, and what you do not want is some of your regrets to be the memories you missed out on. That's it. That's it. It's not going to be all this bullshit you're thinking about. I promise you that. Promise you that. So, yeah, culture of perfection. Let's get out, guys. We're all human here. And what I love, Dr. Danny, about this conversation is we're humanizing doctors too, because you guys are human too. You know, I think so many
Very much
times
so.
we forget that.
Very much so. We
We forget you guys are human.
well, again, there are some times where we like the, most people think that they want the I'm sick, I'm going to the expert, gonna get the answer, and don't always realize there's actually a lot of gray in what we do.
Hmm.
There are some slam dunk things. I always tell people, in general, you have appendicitis, me do appendectomy, you feel better, hurrah. There's things, you have strep throat, we give penicillin, you feel better in 24 hours. And we love that, right? And that
Right.
builds. Uh, but the gray in there is not always knowing what the right thing to do is. We have trouble. I always tell people the hardest thing to say in medicine sometimes is, I don't know what the right thing to do is. I'm not
There
sure
is
an opera.
so much power in the words, I don't know, but I'll do my best to find out.
Also, in my experience, builds trust. Now I'm authentic. Now I'm real. I'm not a know-it-all, an encyclopedia or anything like that. I've dropped.
Yeah.
I don't know the answer to that one. I'm going to do everything I can to figure it out, and I'm going to
Yeah.
do my best. And again, I'll stick with you every step of the way. I'm not totally sure what the right direction to go is. Let me get back to you on that one. We have a real hesitation to do that, though.
I love that. I love that. Seems so simple. It seems so simple, but the words are hard to say until you start practicing them. I don't know. I'll get back to you. As a corporate consultant, sometimes I didn't have the answer. I don't know. I'll get back and then follow up. Be sure you follow up. Get back to them. Even if you still don't know, get back to them. So,
I blame social media for making this worse because we live in a short-term outcome culture. And
oh
so,
my God,
and
3-second dopamine hit. Yeah.
yeah, 3 seconds. I think that's too long. I mean,
Is it half a
I've,
second now?
I've seen people scroll through, and in the short term, it feels good, Lisa, to give you the answer.
Hmm.
It takes much longer in the long term. I don't know. We're going to have to see. This is going to take some time and all
Yeah.
that stuff. We don't like that. We're wired for short-term outcomes.
And gratification, instant.
Short-term instant gratification.
Yeah, social media is done. That's one we can have you on for part two. All right, rebuilding confidence. This is key. This is
Yeah.
key. This is where we're going to learn a lot from you.
Okay.
Without becoming hardened by, man, this world right now could make us really hard, really cynical, really angry. After a bad outcome, how can a clinician or even a human, right? Anybody, any of us, rebuild confidence without trauma responses being overly conscious, emotionally disconnected, or hardened to protect yourself? So basically, what I'm asking is, how do we rebuild without having that PTSD?
Yeah, it's a great question. I'm going to tell you how I did it in the surgical world, and then maybe
Okay.
you could help me generalize it to everybody. And
All right.
believe it or not, this came from a malpractice lawyer.
Okay.
To me. So hang with me here for about the 2-minute backstory, okay?
Got it. Go.
When bad things happen to us, in our brains, they hurt us about 2 to 2.5 more than good things. The pain from a loss is about 2 to 2.5x more than the pleasure from a gain. And I could show you the data, but if you would do me a favor, if you would just accept that for me
I
right now.
accept it. I'm
Okay,
plugging
you
in
do.
because I'm almost losing you, but you keep rolling. Go ahead.
Okay, got it. So knowing that, that means when something bad happens, say to me, I have a complication, I need 2.5 to 3 of my next operation to go perfectly just to feel net even about myself.
Whoo!
And that's not completely realistic. But this is how I have helped heal in my mind when I do have a complication. And that is when I have an operation that goes well for somebody. Yes, I made that patient's life better. But that patient may have a spouse, and by getting them their spouse back, I made their life better. And maybe they're parents, and I made their kids' lives better. And maybe they're a teacher, and I made their classroom better. Or maybe they're a coach, and I made their team better. Or maybe they're a pillar in their congregation. I made their, and now I had this 2.5x bad thing that happened over here, but I have this web of goodness. And it's like, then I can talk to myself nicely and say, go out and help the next person and start this virtuous web. And that's how we're going to get over and keep saying, keep doing what we're doing.
I love it. You know what you're doing? You're not focusing on the small thing. So I'll give you my for instance. It's kind of my analogy for what you're talking about because what we're doing is we're expanding our perspective to see bigger than the tiny thing we're hyper focused on.
Mm,
So say I'm stressed about the damn bill or the damn dish, whatever the little thing is, this 3D little thing. I start expanding my perspective to wait, there are 200 billion galaxies. We're on a spinning rock. We're being fed by a flaming fucking ball of fire. Like that's how we're everything and we're nothing. So if you can expand your perspective out bigger, 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 bigger. I saved this person, and in turn, they're going to go out and change the lives and inspire hundreds of people, right? You're expanding your perspective. It's all about perspective shifts. And that's how you get to that PTG you were talking about, expanding your perspective to be bigger. Think bigger picture. Then you come back into the smaller picture and go, well, you know what? I've improved my process and I'm always doing the best that I can. And my friends, our best changes. Sometimes we're going to be at 80%, sometimes we're going to be at 110%. Our best changes on any given day as long as we're always trying our best. I think parenting actually is the
mm.
hardest job because we always feel like we're failing at it, but we're always trying to do our best at it. So I love that analogy. I had a
Well, glad to know.
complication with this person, but I helped this person who is then going to go out and even if it's be there for their animal,
There's
seriously.
or whatever. I will also tell you your specific question was rebuilding confidence and things like that. There's a quote from the famed psychiatrist in World War II concentration camps by Dr. Viktor Frankl, who
Mm,
he wrote the book Man's Search for Meaning. And
mm.
he wrote, suffering ceases to be suffering the moment it finds meaning. And so when I could find some way, okay, this did not go the way that I wanted to, but I'm going to find a way. A lot of the talks that I give to other medical professionals to help them bounce back, okay, that's meaningful to me. And so
Mm.
even though, yes, I've had horrible complications and I will continue to have complications as I'm still a practicing surgeon, and the only people who don't have complications are the people who don't operate. Uh, but
I love that. Yeah, exactly, right?
I didn't come up with that one. It's a kind of a surgical dictum. Um, but when you can go and find meaning in what you do, then the suffering stops. And that's how you
Purpose
can
and
go.
meaning.
Yeah.
Purpose and meaning will bring hope. So my friends, if you're sitting out there and something bad just happened, it's a teaching tool. Think about how boring it'd be if everything just went exactly the way we would. That'd be so boring. I would get bored and I'd have to go mess shit up. I'd get so bored.
That's funny.
I'd get so bored. All right. So, what can hospitals, medical schools, healthcare leaders do differently to create environments where clinicians can process difficult outcomes, learn from the things that go down the way that were unexpected, and recover without fearing that their vulnerability is going to be weaponized against them? What needs to change?
You know, I think it's actually what you jokingly talked about a little bit beforehand. I actually think there needs to be this in the curriculum. We
Yeah.
actually have to have. I have this film for this class that I teach on building high performing teams,
Yeah.
and it has this slide of when I became an attending, faculty visit, because I knew how to cut and sew, the other things that were thrust upon me, he must be a great team leader, he must be skilled in difficult conversations, he must be financially aware, you know, and conflict resolution is like, actually, none of my training
Those are
is
not
in
my
this area.
skills.
Right. And then I realized very quickly, I had to tell this funny story of what happened to me on my first day of being an attending, of getting bamboo railroaded with a story like this. And I was like, if I 50% of my job are the things that I was never trained for.
Yeah.
And I think that some of this is catching on a little bit, uh, but we need more of it. We
Absolutely.
need more
Yeah.
on, trust building and expectation setting. And um, one of my favorite things to talk about now is how important listening is. Have you ever seen the? That's just kind of funny because I'm talking the whole time on a podcast. But have you ever seen the data on how quickly a physician interrupts a patient?
I have not. Tell me.
Seconds.
Mm,
Seconds. And it's been shown that being a great listener is one of the
mm,
highest things that you can do to build trust.
mm.
So why aren't we teaching more listening
Active
skills?
listening.
How to be an active
Which
listener?
is a skill
Why
that we're
don't
not taught. Actually, you know what? Everything you're talking about, we should be taught in 8th grade. If I didn't like working with adults, I would work toward a platform for middle schoolers, like setting boundaries and self-love and not sacrificing and bouncing back after humiliation or embarrassment. I mean, seriously, we should be taught this in
it is
school.
so funny that you say that. One of the things that launched my career into giving some talks. Did you ever see the book by Robert Ludlum, Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten?
Yes.
So I wrote a lecture, but I crossed out his and I said everything I needed to know to be an assistant professor of surgery I was never taught. Uh, and they were
I'm
different.
just making that shit up as I go, guys.
Uh, and they were different things like this, but it wasn't until I was giving talks and a professor until I learned things like the thing that if you break communication down into body language, tone of voice, and the words that you say, if you
Mhm,
break that into 100% of communication, the thing that matters the least is the words that you say, and it's
mhm,
10%.
mhm,
10%. 30% is your tone of voice that you say it, and 60% your body language.
mhm. Talk to us a little bit about body language when you're active listening.
So you're actually quite good at it. Uh,
Thank you.
you know, the, so I'm gonna 30 seconds to get off course here for a second, then I'll bring it back.
Hey, we go
What
down rabbit holes here. We
you know,
we have fun with these. You run, run, run with it.
my favorite question to ask people is, "What's the most important thing that you have?" People are like, "What do you mean?" and all that stuff, and I go round and round. People, I've gotten all kinds of different things. Family, my health, pets make the list every now and then, and I
Mhm,
tell people, to me, the most important thing that I have is my time. Can't
mm,
buy more time, can't get time back.
mm,
I think more about my time and how I'm going to spend it than I do anything else. That to me is the most important thing that you have.
mhm.
Bringing it back to listening. When you're being a great listener with me, when you're engaged, you smile, you make eye contact with me even though we're over Zoom, you prompt me to ask more things. You're showing your curiosity.
My favorite word.
Yeah, number one trait of a good healthcare provider, according to a study. What you're de facto saying to me, Danny, you are worthy of the most precious thing that I have, my time. That's where body language makes a difference. That's what you're de facto saying to me. Now we have a connection. Now we're building trust. Now I know that you care.
Because it's a part of you. You've just given up a part of you. I call it energy. Since my last little scare where I had a cluster of embolisms. Yeah, doctor comes in and he goes, "You got a cluster of embolisms in your left lung." I was like, "How many?" He goes, "I don't know. We didn't count." I was like, "You didn't count?" I was like,
Uh,
"Is it 2 or is it 20?" I think, doesn't that matter? Like, and then
uh,
he's like, "And you have lupus pancreatitis on the left side," which was a new diagnosis. And
oh,
then I got discharged from the hospital and I turned 50 right after. And
hmm.
normally when I've had the embolisms, I just bounce back. I'm a workaholic, went back to work. This time I was like, fuck all y'all. I had big plans, big party. I was like, I'm going off to the mountains by myself with my dog. And so I turned 50 on a Wednesday and I'm just crying, going, my life is not where I want it to be. And there comes the podcast and the memoir, and everything in my life literally pivoted that day. I was
Wow.
like, because of my time, I call it my energy. My
Okay.
energy is a privilege. Not everybody gets access to it. And if you do get access to it, it's a gift. It's a gift. So your time, your listening is a gift. You're giving up a piece of you to people. when you are actively listening to that. I love that. I love that. And people feel it.
That is, um, yes, there's no metric for that, but um, I use the word connection in
Mhm.
there, and that, I mean, I think you made a joke a little bit earlier about dopamine releases and things like that. That's when people feel like they belong, that they have a community. Our core desire as human beings is to feel valued. That's what we
Mhm.
want. You talk to people at work, my boss doesn't value me,
Mhm.
different things like that. But when you give me your time, what you're saying is, I value what you have to say.
Because
Go.
you matter.
Because you could put that in there as well. Now,
Yeah.
who doesn't want to hear that?
I wanna hear that.
Yeah,
I
of
wanna hear
course.
that. Yeah.
Of course.
Everybody wants to hear that.
Of
Yeah.
course. So that's how, again, we're building trust, we're being and all that stuff, and it all comes back into a very virtuous circle.
Well, Dr. Danny, I love the work that you're doing, not only
Mm.
for physicians, but for clients and patients, but for humans. I
I hope
think
so.
this is, you being on podcasts and talking about this, it's not just for clinicians, my friend. It's for all of us because we all need to hear one that we matter, two that we need to be active listening with each other, three that mistakes are going to happen in our lives. Expectations are the thief of happiness. I don't care how much long you've been on this
Mm.
healing journey, life is still going to happen. But you know what? We get better and better at managing it and managing ourselves within it. And yes, please, friends, if you do not have that supportive inner circle, start finding them today. Absolutely. All right, Dr. Danny, I got two questions to ask you. We always close out with these with our guests. All
Okay,
right, you
hit me.
ready?
Hit
Here
me.
we go. All right. In your life,
Yeah.
what did you perform in order to survive? And how did your life change when you dropped the role masker performance?
How did my life change when
What
uh
happened? Yeah.
yeah, the I think the answer, what did I perform in my life?
Hmm.
That so Permission to go a little off script here, get a little personal.
Of course.
So, because I don't want this to come off as just by my book, but when I was
Well,
a
no, you're
young,
on here, so you sell books, dude.
well,
It's cool.
fair enough.
Buy the
So
book,
what?
guys. Buy the
Yeah,
book. Look, I'll do
thank
it
you for
for
that. Here's
you.
here's my answer to you of when things changed. Happened when I was 15 years old.
Oh,
So
wow.
give me 2 minutes to tell you the backstory.
You got
Okay.
plenty of time. We're not in a hurry.
My parents at the time went through what was in a legal document as one of the worst divorces in state history.
Oh,
Okay.
no.
I think it took 9 years. I think it started when I was 8 and ended when I was
What?
17. Yeah.
Oh, no.
And unfortunately, my father was not a nice man. Very mean to me, said horrible things to me, treated me horribly, and it hurt. It wounded me.
Mm,
And when I was 15 years old, I said to myself, um, I do not want you to be a part of my life anymore. I don't feel good about myself. I don't like the way that I am when around you. And what helped the most is the good people in my life. Um, after that happened, and we still, May 25th, 1993 is the last time we spoke. Uh, I came up with something called, they taught me, or what I called the your loss theory. And it goes back to what we were talking about with talking to yourself nicely. Other people helped me to say, it's your dad's loss that he's not a part of your life because you're a good kid and you're smart and you're going to go on to do great things. And so when I've been able to adopt that your loss mentality for when somebody doesn't want me to be a part of something, or okay, your loss. I have a lot of gifts and talents and all that stuff, and I'm going to go put them towards something else.
mhm.
That to me, that is what I performed when I was 15, and that's how it shaped how I was able to now learn to talk to myself nicely. Not just keep in mind that took decades worth of work to
Of
get there,
course.
uh,
Yeah.
but that's how I was able to finally get there and then overcome. the next obstacles and the bigger obstacles that came in my life.
I love that. I love that. Dr. Danny, what do you wish we were talking more about? What do we need to be conversing more about in
Uh,
your world? In your world.
in my world,
Yeah.
uh, I tell you, I am so hooked right now on trust and listening. Um, so if you'll go with me for 1 second here,
Hmm.
when people feel like they're being listened to and valued and that there's trust, you will generate an atmosphere of what's known as psychological safety, which is a whole fun topic that we can talk about.
Because
When,
that's the foundation of everything.
when people feel psychologically safe, they will
Hmm.
go and they will give discretionary effort. They will go above and beyond.
Yep.
Here's what I have to do, here's what I'm willing to do. When you are around people like that, it's awesome.
Yeah.
That you've built a community of like-minded people who work together for a common goal. When that happens, you're not working anymore. And it's great. That is what I wish that we were talking more about. Those are the steps to get there. So working backwards, I want my teammates and my to give discretionary effort. They're only going to give discretionary effort if they feel psychologically safe around me. They're only going to feel psychologically safe around me if I build an atmosphere of trust and of listening. So that's my answer.
I love that. Beautiful answer. Because you know what? Safety is the foundation of everything. If we do not feel safe, everything feels off.
You
My
have
friends, that goes for everything in your life, your relationships, your relationship with yourself. Does that feel safe? How nice are you to yourself? So very important. Well, Dr. Danny, it's been a pleasure. We're at 45 minutes, but we can talk for hours, my friend. We need you
absolutely.
on.
I didn't,
We
wow,
need
that's
you
a
on for
fast.
about two. All right, where can we find the book? Tell me, tell
So
me, tell me, tell
it's
me.
on all the places that you would go to. The easiest is probably Amazon,
All
you
right.
know, and just go to the line, cut open, and my last name, Eiferman. I also have a website, integritysurgery.org, that you can order it off of. And although I said earlier that social media is the devil, and it is, the people that I worked with to get the book published said, you don't have to do social media, but you have to do LinkedIn. So I actually am on LinkedIn.
I saw you on
Like,
LinkedIn.
well,
Yeah.
I
By
pay
the way, I
somebody.
connected with you. You got to connect back with me,
Yeah. What do you
or
call?
I'll feel
Well,
isolated.
so
I'll
what?
feel embarrassed and humiliated
So
and not
truth
valued.
vulnerability moment. It's not a, there's this wonderful woman named Agatha that I pay to run that account and like post for me and put stuff out about the book. So she's the one who's like adding the
A
people and
good
all.
team matters. A
Oh,
good
she's the best.
team.
If anybody needs a content creator content, I'll put you in touch with her. She's
All
outstanding.
right. Hey, I might be reaching out to you for that one. All
Oh,
right,
she's
guys.
great.
Hey, listen, you don't have to write that down. I'm going to put it all the places we're going to splash this podcast. It will be everywhere and links will be easy peasy. You can click right on the link underneath the episode. Dr. Danny, thank you so much for giving us your time and your experiential wisdom and giving us things that will help not only clinicians but us as human beings
My my
on
pleasure.
this earth school. All right, my friends, don't forget, ask yourself the question, what are you performing in order to survive? Is it still serving you? And if it's not, what amazing things would happen in your life if you dropped the role, the performance, or the mask? I'm your host, Lisa Lacy. In the meantime, welcome to the edge. We'll see you soon.